Yo, it's your boy WesTheTech here to bring you another one of my personal favorite tech tips to help you as an artist grow in your craft. All right. Now, today I'm going to be explaining how music NFTs are going to change the music industry. All right. So, first and foremost, I don't know if you've already heard what NFT is or if you've been doing any research on it in particular. All right. But overall, it's in the scope of crypto. It's in the scope of cryptocurrency, so on and so forth. All right. Now, in interest of full disclosure, I'm not about that life, all right? I'm not one of those crypto traders, all right? Bitcoin traders and, stock exchange. I don't really deal with all of that. When I tell you I'm all about music, I'm really just all about music, all right? But with this NFT that's beginning to circulate in the world of music, it's something that I cannot ignore. All right. It's something that I felt that I had to research and understand more because I do believe, especially after the research that I've done, that it is ultimately going to change the entire music industry as we know it moving forward. All right. Now, before I continue, I definitely want to let you know that, on this channel, that's all I do. I help to grow independent artists. All right. So whenever you get a chance, go ahead and click the subscribe button. All right, because all I do here is help artists. All right. Now, when it comes to this whole NFT thing, I guess the first thing I should start off with is what NFT actually is. All right. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. All right. Now, this token isn't a physical token. It actually is a digital token. All right. And it actually is a unique digital crypto token. All right. That can't be replaced or replicated. All right. So basically, it's one of a kind. Kind of like a first edition comic book or a first edition Pokemon card. All right. It's rare. It's something that there may be a few of them in the world, but it's very, very rare, as in not everybody can have one. All right. Which means that it comes with a very high value because it's so exclusive, because it's so hard to get. All right. Now, for me to explain this a little further, I also feel like I do need to explain what an actual fungible token is, because I think that will help you understand it better, because I know that's what helped me understand it better. All right. So a fungible token is actually a token that you can trade and exchange for itself. All right. Now, the primary example of this when you're talking about the crypto world is Bitcoin. All right. If you don't know what Bitcoin is actually a digital currency. All right. So it's like digital money, basically. All right. We have physical money, and now we also have digital money. We've had it for quite some time now, but Bitcoin is probably the most popular digital money. All right. You can actually start buying things in a lot of different websites using Bitcoins besides using actual money. All right. Now, Bitcoin itself is a fungible token. All right. So Bitcoin can be traded in exchange for another Bitcoin, i.e., you could have one Bitcoin and you could trade it for another Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is literally equal to another Bitcoin. All right. No different than a $1 bill is equal to another $1 bill. All right. If I trade you a dollar bill for a dollar bill, we're both happy because it's the same thing. It's almost like nothing happened, right? You could trade one for the other. They're basically the exact same thing. They basically have the same value. That's what a fungible token is. Now, a non-fungible token is literally a special or rare type of token that cannot be traded with itself. All right. So like the Pokemon card or the comic book that I showed earlier, it's the same thing. The value of it is way different than anything you could have. More than likely, it's something that's not ever going to be made again. All right. So to even break this down a little further for you to really understand and grasp, a Bitcoin would be the equivalent of buying a Jay-Z album, just a vinyl album. All right. You're always going to be able to purchase a vinyl Jay-Z album. All right. Like this album, Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. You could buy this anytime you want. You could always buy it. That's why it's not that expensive. All right. They're always going to keep making it. All right. They're always going to keep producing it and producing it. If the entire world wanted to have a copy of this album, everybody would be able to have a copy of this album because they're always going to keep making it. All right. Now, What a non-fungible token would be the equivalent of the same exact album, but imagine if that album was actually autographed by Jay-Z himself. And not only was it autographed, it was also certified to prove that it is a real signatured copy of that same album. As you can see, the value of that changes the moment you increase that value just by a signature alone, all right? That's what a non-fungible token is, right? That autographed Jay-Z album, not everybody in the world will be able to have that. I'm sure Jay-Z hasn't signed a million or a billion, 9 billion copies of that album. So not everybody can have that, which means the value of it is a lot higher than it would be just a regular vinyl album that everybody can have, all right? So I know you're probably asking yourself at this point, okay, Wes, what does this have to do with music? I don't understand. Okay, I get what you're saying with fungible and non-fungible, but what does it have to do with music? I don't understand. Well, that's the beautiful thing, because we live in a day and age now that music is actually digital. All right. Most people listen to music through streaming platforms, all right, or download it digitally online. It's digital, right? We don't really deal with CDs and we definitely don't deal with 8-tracks, but we don't deal with CDs no more, all right? I literally remember the day that Best Buy stopped selling CDs. It was crazy to me. They were like, what? You guys aren't selling CDs anymore? Yes, CDs are going to truly become a thing of the past at some point. Most cars don't even have CD players. Most newer model cars don't even have CD players anymore, all right? That's the change that we're going to. We're really dealing with digital music nowadays. Because we're dealing with digital music nowadays, music can actually enter the realm of digital selling, digital buying, just like Bitcoins and things like that, all right? Now, when it comes to music, as far as using music as an NFT, as an exclusive product, all right, that would be the equivalent of, let's say, an artist taking an album and say, you know what, I'm just going to release this as an NFT album. That means it's very exclusive. That means it can't be duplicated, right? So that's where you, as the artist who created that NFT album, and the buyers of that NFT album will benefit from there, all right? Now, for you as the artist, the crazy thing about NFTs is that when you are the original person who created the NFT, you actually will get a percentage of the purchase fee of that NFT every time that NFT changes hands. Meaning, if you sell your album to your NFT album to a buyer, right? That buyer, the moment that buyer sells it to another buyer, you get a percentage of that sales cost. Once he or she sells it to another buyer, you also get a percentage of that cost as well. So essentially, every time that NFT changes hands, finds a new owner, you as the artist will actually benefit from that, all right? That's crazy when you're thinking about an aspect when you're thinking about NFTs from the artist, the creator of the content's perspective. But this also brings value to the buyer of the content as well, all right? Whoever buys that album will literally have a rare album. Not everybody could get that album. Now, if somebody would want to buy that album from someone who already bought it, obviously they're going to have to pay more. And that's where the value increases. That's where you, as the buyer of that album, will have potential to make a lot of money off of that album, all right? Now, if you're wondering to yourself, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if that'll work. Well, it actually has already worked. There's actually have been artists that have already been trying to do it. And probably the most famous artist to do it so far is Tory Lanez, all right? Now, if you don't know who Tory Lanez is, I don't know what to tell you. You know, he's a pretty famous artist. He's pretty big, all right? His name is typically on the news when you're dealing with hip-hop and things like that. So he's pretty big, all right? Now, Tory Lanez recently released an album. It's, I believe, In the Dark or something like that, right? This album was an NFT album. He only released it as an NFT album. It was a 7-track album. And he released this album for $1, all right? Now, I know you're thinking, okay, why would he release an album for $1? Surely he could have made it more. Of course he could have made it more. But the reason he sold it for $1 was because there's no middleman. There's nobody else that he has to share the profit with, right? There's no distribution company. There's no marketing team. There's no this. There's no that. There's no that. It's literally just him directly to his fans, all right? This is one of the big aspects of NFTs that's going to change the music industry because it's going to put a lot of people out of business. All of those middlemen can essentially become out of business with this NFT now being in place, right? So going back to Tory Lanez, he sold this album for $1, right? In less than a minute, he sold 1 million copies. What does that mean? 1 million copies means platinum. Regardless how much he sold it for, he sold 1 million copies because remember, in order to go platinum, you just have to sell 1 million copies. They never said what the price of the copy, each copy was. You just had to sell 1 million. So that album actually went platinum. But here's where the money really comes into play when you're dealing with someone who, let's say, bought the album. That person bought the album for $1. That album is no longer worth $1. Why? Because it has gained value over time. Because so the people who want it, who didn't get a chance to buy it for $1, now want it. So obviously they're going to be willing to spend more money to get it. Now, there's been rumors that that album is worth $60,000 now. Tory Lanez rumored that. I don't know if it's true. You know, like I said, I'm not really into all of that crypto stuff anyway. So I don't know the actual price of the album now. But I'm 100% sure it's no longer valued at $1. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually valued at a couple of $1,000s at this point. All right, because he only sold a limited amount of it. Again, it became an exclusive, just like the Pokemon card, just like the first edition comic book. It's an exclusive. There's not that many copies of it in the world, and people will pay crazy money just to have it. All right, so this is one big aspect of how music NFTs is gonna change the music industry. All right, but the biggest reason that it is going to change the music industry, besides making all of the middlemen people unemployed, is the fact that you can actually, as a fan, also make money off of the album with the artist, all right? And the reason I say that, because with NFTs, there is a special thing that you could do with them called adding utilities, all right? Meaning you could add certain things to that NFT to increase the value of it. You could add exclusive things to it, like let's say the owner of this NFT token can have 3 free merchandise a year, all right? Or maybe the owner of this NFT album can have a free ticket once a year, all right? This immediately increases the value of that NFT, all right? Meaning that whoever owns it has access to a free concert every year. Obviously, someone could sell that for a certain amount of money, and there are people in this world who will buy it for any type of money because they want to be able to have that, all right? So this obviously will make money for the artist, all right? Also make money for the fan who bought it at the cheaper amount of price. But the biggest aspect of it is if the artist adds a utility of a percentage of ownership of the album. This is where it gets crazy, all right? So, for example, let's say Tory Lanez with this album, I don't think he did this with this album, but let's say he did. Let's say with this album, he says whoever owns any one of these NFTs, you will also own 1% of the future royalties of this album. What that essentially means is that anyone who holds that token, whatever amount of money that album makes, that fan, that person who purchased that NFT will also make 1% of that amount of money, right? That means not only is the artist making money, but the fan is also making money as well. Imagine yourself as an artist going on, let's say you're a Drake fan. I'm pretty sure being a Drake fan, you have posted Drake's music before, or maybe you posted a story with Drake's music behind it, whatever the case, all right? If you have done that and you actually owned a portion of that music, guess what? You just made yourself money. Because the more the music is used, the more money the music makes. And if you own a percentage of that music, you also make music. This is the aspect of it that's really going to change the game when it comes to the music industry, because it will develop a business relationship between the artist and the fans. This is huge. That means nobody else is involved, just the artists and the fans, all right? So if you have ownership of part ownership of a particular album, you're gonna want to promote it. You're gonna want to push it. You're gonna want to market it yourself as a fan because you know you're gonna make money off of it no matter what. All right. It's no different than when in stock you buy a portion of a major company like Publix. You buy stock in Home Depot. You know, the more these companies make, the more your stock value is gonna go up. The more money you're gonna make. So therefore, you put more value into it. You market it more as a person who's part owner. All right. This is the aspect of NFTs that's really gonna revolutionize the entire music industry. All right. I mean, I've literally seen people from Elon Musk talking about it to Gary Vee. I mean, a lot of famous rich people are already starting to talk about this. All right. So you got to start doing your research on this and really understanding what NFT is, because it's not going anywhere. It's literally going to be here to stay. Not only that, just to show you even further proof that this is not something that's going away, Ditto Music has already created a music NFT platform. All right. It's literally going to be a platform that you could buy and sell different music NFTs. All right. I believe the name of the platform is Opulus. All right. I believe you could get to it by Opulus, opulus.org. All right. This is something that Ditto Music has already created. That already shows you that this is the direction that music is going. All right, we already have an artist like Tory Lanez who's already as big as Tory Lanez, who's already has sold an NFT album. We already have a distribution company as big as Ditto that has already created an NFT platform. I'm telling you, this isn't going anywhere, which is why myself, I felt that I had to research it, and I also felt that I had to share it with you guys before it's too late. All right. So whichever the case, what you want to do is you want to start researching this thing. You want to start getting involved. You want to start thinking to yourself as an artist, how can I benefit from these NFTs? Whether as a buyer, a seller, whether as an artist, artist yourself, or a fan of an artist, whichever the case, right? Whether you're a manager or producer, whichever the case, this is something that everyone dealing with the music industry has to look into and has to understand, because it's only going to get bigger as time progresses. All right. But either way, I hope I broke it down. I hope I explained it enough for you to understand it. If you have any additional questions about it, any questions whatsoever, please leave comments on the comment section below. You know, I'm one of those people, I like to answer every single comment I get. So don't be afraid to drop a comment on the comment section below. Ask any questions you want, whether it's in regards to NFTs or anything in regards to the music industry. Feel free to do it. I love answering questions. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you grow as an independent artist. That's what I'm here to do. So either way, I hope this helped. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.